Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Richard Moglen, and welcome to this week's Market Outlook. So before we get started and looking at the big picture and the indexes, I want you guys to answer two polls that are on my Twitter. The first is a sentiment survey about how you think the index will close in 1 week. So if you think it's going to be higher towards the end of the week, answer for that. Lower, about the same, answer those. And the second poll I want you guys to answer is, what stocks should I cover in my second episode of Market Winners? In my first, I talked about InMode, which advanced 100% in just a couple of months. And I want to get a similar stock to that. So I've got a couple options here, and you can also answer other and then leave a suggestion down below. And just because I won't choose one this week doesn't mean I won't choose it in the future, as I plan to continue this series on, because I think it's really interesting to learn from really strong stocks and kind of teach yourself things to look for. So now that we've covered that, let's go ahead and look at the big picture from this past Friday. So overall on Friday, it was a weekday. You had a lot of selling in a shortened trading day, but overall the trend is still up, as that's what the article really is saying. And you've got the stat that the indexes have not seen a loss greater than 1% since October 8th. And this doesn't mean that there couldn't be those next week. It just means that the overall trend is up and that overall it's okay to be invested in this market. They also go on to talk about the lack of distribution days, and they talk about the benefits of Black Friday to all these different huge retail organizations, Target, Walmart, Costco, and they also go on to talk about some ETFs and stocks that dropped. FFTY lost 0.5%, as we'll go and look in TC2000 in just a second. And also InMode dropped 8.5%. I was actually stopped out of that this past Friday. But overall, the overall trend is a confirmed uptrend. You only have 3 distribution days on the Nasdaq and on the S&P. And you've got some really strong companies really surging this past Friday. Arrowhead, and Autodesk. So now looking at wishingwealthlog.com, you can see the current GMI signal is green, so it's okay to be invested, and the GMI score has recovered and is now a strong 6 out of 6, with the GMI2 a 7 out of 8. He also shows the really pretty red, white, blue pattern, which I'll actually bring up in TC2000 in just a second. So overall, from both investors.com and wishingwealthblog.com, the market conditions are good. So now taking a look at the QQQ, or the Nasdaq Composite ETF, you can see the overall trend is up. You've got the 10-day moving average really supporting this move, and the 30-day and 50-day moving averages are increasing as well. As I said, this past Friday was a shortened trading day, so this probably would have been a distribution day if it had gone on for the full length of time. However, it didn't. But it's still something to look at early into next week, as this selling off could continue. Also, if you don't want to deal with all these different moving averages and this kind of looks unclear to you, I always suggest that you make a guppy version of your charting software, because look how easy it is to decipher the trend of the indexes. If it's on top with a red, white, blue pattern, that is a strong performance. The QQQ ETF is in an uptrend, but if it's in a blue, white, red pattern with some space in between it, that is a downtrend, and that's when you don't want to be invested in the stock. But overall, since about mid to early October, we've been in a strong red, white, blue pattern, and the index has actually increased 7.32% in that time. So overall, still good market conditions to be in, and you really wouldn't want to sell your ETF until this red, white, blue pattern collapses like it did right here. So looking at the SPY now, you can see a very similar red, white, blue pattern, and also on the regular chart as well. You can still see the 10-day moving average supporting the move, and the 30-day and 50-day increasing as well. So now taking a look at the Russell 2000 index, the IWM, it's always good to look at this because you can notice a lot of different things that you do in the overall indexes. Like you can see it kind of broke out of this consolidation that's been in for a while, which is something I've been looking for. And this shows that the mid caps are now supporting the move to some extent. And you also had a poor Friday, but overall the trend is up. The 10-day is still supporting this move, and both the 30-day and 50-day are increasing as well. So overall, positive things from both the SPY, QQQ, and IWM. Now looking at FFTY, you can see how growth stocks are performing. So overall, still a weaker chart than the SPY or the QQQ, but as with the Russell, it's making solid gains. And you can see that late last week was actually pretty poor for growth stocks, but the beginning of this week was fantastic. And probably if you're invested in a lot of growth stocks like I am, you felt this on Monday and Tuesday. Those were very good days for my portfolio. So now that we've looked at the major indexes and ETFs that are relevant to growth stocks, let's go ahead and look at what stocks I'm invested in and how they performed this past week. So first of all, we've got Aries, which I bought around here. And it's kind of still been going sideways, hasn't been doing much, hasn't been losing that much either. So still a strong position, and it's a really good fundamentally ranked stock. Next, we've got Doku, which had a green line breakout right here and has been kind of consolidating that move sideways. So hopefully this kind of bounces off the green line and increases early into next week. PLMR has really been carrying my portfolio. I got in on this day, I believe, shortly after the blue and green dots, and it's increased very well for me. And I sold a little bit at 20% gain, and I plan to hold the rest of it for a longer move. You can see it's really hasn't really had that many down days, which is very surprising and is a sign of a strong stock. Riley is another stock that I'm invested in, and it had a huge shakeout on Friday, but recovered all the way. VCTR, another strong fundamental stock, has been increasing nicely and had a green line breakout right at this level, and since then has been kind of consolidating that move upwards. And like Doku, I expect it to kind of consolidate above it and then continue moving upwards. But as with any green line breakout setup, if it closes below that green line, I get out, no questions asked. Now looking at IBP, which is the last stock that I own, it's just kind of been moving sideways, and hopefully, as with the rest of the portfolio, it increases into next week. So that is all the stocks that I'm invested in. If you've got any stocks that you think I should look at or want my analysis of, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. And if you've got any questions at all, also feel free to leave them down there. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And make sure to tune in tomorrow for my weekly watch list series where I'll go over entry points and setups in strong fundamental growth names. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos.